Hello, I'm Maddie, and this is a replay of my day one run in Blue Prince. Word of warning, this is a spoiler-heavy video. If you haven't played Blue Prince and you want to play it, you should do that, because I will be spoiling combinations to safes and some strategies to reach room 46, which is the whole conceit of the game. So if you want to figure that out for yourself, then stop now. I'm just going to be giving a play-by-play of everything that goes on in this run. It was the first run of the day, which was surprising. But here we go. I'm going to take credit from YouTube here. I'm going to put it in the comments who gave me that info, but we know that if you go to the right first, you always have the same choices, so I always pick bedroom because it always has that chest. I think I was feeling like I've been running out of keys recently, so I took Nook first. Coupon book is going to come in very clutch. And I took utility box because it's necessary for the run and it's good to get it over with. It's also a dead end to get rid of early. Didn't have a sledgehammer, no closet yet, so picked up this silver key. And then I decided to go pantry here. I didn't want to leave myself one out. Also getting billiard room early. Important to figure out if it's going to be a secret garden or great hall, because this is one of the places where you could find the secret garden key. Also, that bedroom chest, I've had it pop up in there a few times. You'll see me struggling to do basic arithmetic. There's the 2 keys, so we know it's not going to be the secret garden, probably. And we tidied off that corner. Proud of that one. Just a gorgeous hallway placement. And we're going to go left here to lock in garage. That's why I'm beelining it for the left wing, just to make sure that we get garage early. And drawing room is very useful for that. If you don't get it on the first try, get that free reroll. Important to pick these up every time because gems are a rarity on day one. And I'm taking closet rather than re-rolling just to get the dead end out of the way. And there's usually some good items in here, like dice. Very important for getting that outside room. But it ends up not mattering this time around. So I end up redrawing here to get the garage. And we already have utility closets, so I'll just open that door for good measure, but I'm not going to go to it yet. I was waiting until I had at least 2 dice, although I end up breaking that rule ultimately. Go with workshop here, leave that corridor for later when you will actually get value from the unlocked door. At these low ranks, they're usually not locked up until the 4th rank. Commissary was probably the clutchest pick of the day. Because I had that coupon book and I already had 5 coins, I was able to pick up 2 gems, so I felt really confident in just spending all my gems. I think this is where I went with Chapel, yeah. Does not matter that I lost that coin, as you'll see. I considered Boudoir because I had the sleep mask that I picked up in the closet, but I think 29 isn't, I wasn't really scared yet. I really didn't like to see that security door because I did not have security until much, much later, and it ended up, it did kind of matter. I mean, there were some spots where there was a lot of security doors, but free gems. I'm checking to see what the placement of the room is so I could determine if it was worth using the silver key. And then I debated picking gym or dark room, and I went with gym because I had already disabled its ill effect, and I already had a route to get to that square that dark room was pointing to anyway. Did go with bunk beds here because 10 free steps and 2 gems, which was sweet. Did not really have to worry about resources at all. I went with veranda. Not the best to only have one way forward, but dining room popped up and I had a pretty strong sigh of relief. Also, this is wonderful placement for dining room. I went with silver key here, pretty much knowing I would get Great Hall as a choice, probably. I was pretty flush with gems at this point, so I went with office. I saw that chest and I kind of just didn't think, I just went in. But also this room is just flush with loot for me, so. And double dice here is, I was as happy as could be. Spread gold because why not? I was probably going to make it back to the commissary anyway. Where did that gold come from? Grab the gem. Now here, I did use a reroll for that right turn. And then I did not go up to finish the route to the antechamber. I think just out of an abundance of caution. I didn't want to have to be forced to use a die. And I wanted to make sure that I could get this lever, which the metal detector is useful for. Just got pretty lucky with the placement of that key, hinting that that's a possible room that the lever was in. And I'm just going to continue filling out because I didn't want to get to antechamber without first having foundation. There's been so many times where I had the garage, I had dice, I had a secret garden or a great hall, and I got to the antechamber, and then I just had nowhere to go to get my foundation sorted. So this is what I ended up doing. I took this archives, which was the riskiest move for me, effectively blinding me to a third of my choices for rooms from now on. However, ended up being okay with that. And now I was just filling out as many dead ends as I could to eliminate them from the pool, so that when I did get back to antechamber, I wouldn't have as many dead ends in my pool. Going for a free room here. I saw a foundation and knew I had to go for it. Went down first. Nope, I didn't. I thought I did. I eventually went there. Went with a reroll here. Oh. Nope, I didn't go for a reroll. Wow, that was really a ballsy move. And I got the pool. Basically as good as it gets. Boudoir for the free steps. Now, all I needed was something to turn to the right so that I could get to the back of foundation here. Dark room accomplishes that. I was worried that for some reason going into a dark room would not allow me to see this, but it would have been fine either way. I could have just gone back and turned the lights on. So next steps here are to ensure the route to the antechamber, which is why I started to cram as many dead ends as I could. Also 10 free steps is 15 free steps. The most ratchet toilet placement you've ever seen. Could not take that risk. And we're going with conference room. At this point, the run is basically assured. Aside from that risk of only having one die, which is why I picked laboratory here. There are some experiments that give you dice, so I just wanted to check that. And there's that 1 in 3 chance of a die. And I did not get a die. So that's me being upset. Now I have to trudge all the way back to garage. Checking my route there. I end up doing that a lot. Just buy out the shop because it's fun. I was like, oh, I could make the power hammer, but I don't have the broken handle. Doesn't matter. So the combination of running shoes, dining hall, and sleeping mask basically made steps irrelevant here. And I also didn't need dice, as it turns out. Nothing left to do but move this minecart out of the way, then solve the basement puzzle, pull the lever. That's all that's going on here. Just going through the motions at this point. I was making extra sure that I would be taking the most efficient way back in, just in case steps did become a problem. I don't think steps would be a problem no matter which way I went. And also, the running shoes procced like 6 times on my way up, so it really didn't matter. It's just a straight shot up. You don't have to think about it that hard. I'm just showing off at this point all the money that I have. Yep, you're still going up. Keep going up. Why did I go this way? I don't know. I don't know why I did that. That button. Time to move some hand trucks around. I've only done this puzzle once before in my first playthrough, so I had to remember how to do it. I'm also aware that there's the exploit of floating across gaps by opening and closing the root directory. I had not practiced that, and I wasn't willing to look like a fool on camera, which it's already occurred at this point, so. Maddie. I decided to reposition the path to go to the secret excavator's office. I think it would take less time. I'm not 100% sure on that. that's it. Hope you enjoyed. No, it wasn't most efficient or quick, but I'm proud of it, especially because it was first attempt of the day. Very surprising.
There was once a red prince who sat on a red throne. He had a red crown made of rubies and a red castle made of stone. The prince had a love for all things red. It's the only true color, the prince often said. He could not stand the sight of a canary or a crow. He could not stand the white of a swan in the snow. And he never looked up for fear of the view. He had heard that the sky was not a red hue. He didn't see the birds or the changing of the leaves. And he never saw the sights of life's many symphonies. He couldn't see beyond the red shade he was aware. He never caught a glimpse of the world I had to share. But one day the prince saw something new. And if you look closely, you might see it too. The skies parted and the clouds withdrew. The prince had a new favorite color,